Attention, due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey there, everybody. This is your host, Tim.
Hi-yo, and this is Kermit the Frog.
And welcome to episode 40 of the Civil Gore podcast, the Civil Gore Holiday Spectacular.
Yes, and we use spectacular in the loosest term possible.
But what's fantastic is we have brought on board a cavalcade of celebrity stars to recite that famous legendary Christmas poem, "'Twas the Night Before Krampus."
Yeah, I think Richard Dreyfuss's appearance of last week kind of inspired these people to come along, although I don't think they knew what they was getting themselves into, so you may have a little bit of pushback from some of these guys, but we did sign them under contract, so they're kind of forced at this point.
Yeah, they were beating our doors down. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, let's introduce our celebrity parade of stars. First up, we have, from Film and Screen, Mr. Denzel Washington.
Hey there, everybody. How's it going?
Franklin from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, how there? How you guys doing?
Rocky Balboa.
Yo, Adrian.
Fidget Spinner Guy. Hello, everybody. Richard Dreyfuss.
Well, hello, of course I'm back, so I guess I'll just say, hey.
The guy that narrates all the movie trailers.
In a world where I've taken a job I may soon regret.
Freddy Krueger.
Hello, boys and girls.
Tim's logic professor from college.
People say I sound like a Bela Lugosi.
Michael Caine.
Hello there, folks. This is Michael Caine.
Pete Martell from Twin Peaks.
Hi there, Catherine.
George Takei.
Oh my.
Donald Pleasance.
Death has come to your little town, Sheriff.
The man from another place, also from Twin Peaks.
Hello and welcome to the show.
Michael McConaughey.
Hey there, everybody. All right.
And the Crypt Keeper.
Hello, kiddies.
All right. Gather round, children, for a holiday poem. 'Twas the night before Krampus. 'Twas the night before Krampus, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a louse. The bear traps were laid in the front yard with care, in hopes St. Nicholas soon would be there. I see what you did there. All right.
The children were all nestled, snug in their beds, while visions of butcher knives danced in their heads. Speaking of knives, I didn't have it last. Who had it last?
Her mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap. I just settled down for a long death-like nap, When out on the lawn there rose such a clatter, I grabbed my shotgun to see who I could splatter. Know what I'm saying, Bupkis?
Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of frostbite to objects below. All right, okay, all right. When what to my wandering eyes should appear but raven black sleigh and a demonic reindeer, with wicked old driver so hooded and evil, I knew in a moment it must be devil.
More rapid than hellhound, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Slasher, now Lancer, now Murder and Vexen, on Vomit, on Stupid, on Slaughter and Hexen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now kill away, murder them all. And don't think I didn't realize you forgot me in the intro.
And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the slashing and clawing of each hellish hoof. As I drew in my gun and was turning around, down the chimney Krampus came with a bound.
He was covered in fur from his head to his foot, and his rags were all tarnished with ashes and soot. Did everybody do their homework? A bundle of bones. Can you feel it in your bones? He had flung on his back, and he looked like a mortician opening his back. I hope this poem gets everyone a nice, bright, glowing A.
His eyes, oh how hollow, his talons how brazen, his cheeks were all sunken, his nose like a raisin. My God, I thought Joe's revenge was the worst thing I've ever done. His sinister mouth was drawn up in a grin, and the beard of his chin was as black as sin. What the bloody hell is this? I won 2 Oscars.
The stump of a pipe he held tight in his maw, and the smoke it encircled his head like a claw. He had a goat face and emaciated belly, and his breath when he laughed reeked of sulfur, quite smelly. In fact, it was like that time we had a fish in the percolator.
He was hunched over in torment, a suffering old elf, and I shuddered when I saw him, in spite of myself. Oh my.
A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon filled my poor stomach with despair and with dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, snatched up the poor children, then turned with a jerk. Michael!
And laying one tail in the side of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a scream, and away they all flew like some horrible dream.
But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, all right, all right, all right.
Happy Krampus to all, and to all a good fright!
Wow, that was like the most random thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the celebrities we got. But I think the biggest get had to be your logic professor. He was the one that held out for the most money, ironically.
It was crazy. I don't know. I don't even remember his name. I don't think he ever gave it. So
no, he's just known as Tim's logic professor. Yeah. That's what he'll always be known as now.
Well, let's leave that behind and get right into our first chop. So the backlog project continues, albeit a little slower because it is the holiday season and everybody's busy shopping and that kind of thing. So not a lot of time to watch movies. But I did manage to watch You're Next from 2011, which I'm finding it hard to believe that movie is already almost 7 years old.
Right. That seems like it was definitely it only seems like it was a few years ago. But now that you think about it, wow, that is a long time ago.
I enjoyed it. It's kind of if you recall, it's kind of a take on the there was a brief little phase there where you're going through some like home invasion type horror with the strangers, and you had this one, of course, which this one had a little more of a twist to it. I liked it. It's not spectacular. Watching it again, it didn't blow me away, but it's decent.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I thought it was just okay when I saw it too. I mean, it wasn't anything special. It wasn't bad. I've seen a lot worse. So it's just right there. It's like Midland, very Midland of a movie.
Yeah. Yep. And you had some Halloween news, actually.
Yeah. As we might as well prep everybody because obviously Tim and I are super ecstatic for this film to come out. So pretty much any little bit we get, we're going to share on the podcast. So apparently Laurie Strode's granddaughter has been officially cast. It's by Andy Matichak. I don't know, or Matichak. I'm sure I'm butchering this poor girl's name. But anyway, so she got cast as Laurie Strode's granddaughter. And actually in that article, it kind of confirmed something which I must have missed the actual confirmation. I only knew it was in the works, but they did. It is Judy Greer going to be Laurie Strode's daughter. So this is just So that's great news because I think Judy Greer is fantastic. So I mean this movie is just the hype is. I mean obviously once I get over my Last Jedi hype, and and then it'll be the Han Solo hype briefly, and then then probably once that's done with, boom, it will be like full Halloween hype for me. And I just can't wait till the first teaser, the first images we start to see. I think we'll make sure we follow this thing to every piece we can get for you guys.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I really like Judy Greer too, so I think that's perfect casting.
Yeah.
And then we both got a chance to watch one of the newer holiday titles streaming on Shudder, and that is, of course, the heavily hyped Better Watch Out. So what did you think of this one, Brian?
Well, I mean, as you said, I think the key is heavily hyped because, I mean, when a movie gets that hype like that, and there's always a tense. We'll borrow the term from our good buddies over there at Costa Radio. There's an anticipation factor that could happen. I think this was kind of a combination of that to me, and I think some of the classics we've watched recently have made it. Because some of the comments I saw was, oh, the best holiday horror film ever, and this and that, and I'm like, wow, this must be good to beat. And I'm thinking it's got to be Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night, Krampus, all that, and it definitely didn't go up there to me. I mean, for what it was fantastic. I thought in terms of what it tried to do, but I don't think it's gonna. It's definitely not gonna be. I can't put it in that upper echelon that I see some people putting it in. Right, yeah. I enjoyed it, so I would definitely recommend watching it. It's definitely entertaining, but it was. I couldn't help but compare it to The Babysitter, which recently came out, which is right. I still have to see that. So
yeah, the Netflix original. So kind of a similar tone. I believe The Babysitter is a little more on the comedic side, but at the same time, it's also a little more on the horror side. So this movie kind of didn't quite reach the comedic level of The Babysitter, but in some ways didn't quite reach the horror element either. So it was tough for me to watch it because I always had that comparison in my mind. Although I will say, the performances are generally really good, and they really did do a great job of nailing the Christmas atmosphere. For a movie that really just takes place inside of one house, I thought they did a pretty good job evoking the feel of Christmas. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It's probably not as much as I had expected to enjoy it based on the hype level, right. But it's definitely worth watching. There's far worse ways to spend your time, especially with the holidays here. You have a fairly limited selection of Christmas horror movies to watch. This one certainly is not a bad one to have on the list.
There was that other one I actually liked a little more. I think it was All Through the Night, the one I watched for a horror challenge, which actually is one that I recommend also. Takes place at the holidays. Pretty good.
Okay,
so that's another one to try and check out if you're in the holiday spirit. Even though we've given you some good ones so far, including our tonight's feature one, Krampus. So
yeah. So let's get right into the dismemberment because we're going to do actually 3 weeks, or is it 4 weeks? Actually, 4 weeks of dismemberment. Now this isn't going to take too terribly long because really this time of season there's not a whole lot coming out. They don't save a lot of stuff for right here at the holidays.
Right.
So we didn't want to... We just debated back and forth. Do we just do next week's Blu-ray releases and then just kind of skip over all the rest of them? But we didn't think that was really fair, especially considering most of these are short lists. Right. So we're just going to give you all the releases all the way out to January 9th.
So we're basically gonna do kind of give you like so even though we'll be gone, your we want to give you a dismemberment to carry you through, so you don't forget about us.
So here we go with our dismemberment.
Wait, no, please, God, no, don't cut off my...
Okay, so here are the Blu-ray releases for December 18th, and the first one up. This one looks like a pretty good selection. It's hard to do a pick of the week for this because we have so many weeks we're going through, so I'm not going to really
plus
do that.
There's only 2 this week, so
yeah, there's only 2 this week.
You're doing a pick of the week, we got a choice here.
Yeah, well, there is no choice because I know what the pick of the week is, but anyway.
Yeah.
But the first one up is American Gothic. This was the 1988 release from Scream Factory, and this is one of those that I never saw, but I saw it on the video store shelf all the time. And
this was one of those box art memories.
It copies the classic painting American Gothic with the guy with the pitchfork and the woman looking on, that kind of thing. So I don't really know much about this movie. Unfortunately, it's one of those I kind of missed in the 80s, but with a Scream Factory edition, I'm sure it's worth a look.
Oh yeah, I mean they just don't. You can never go wrong with a Scream Factory release because even if you don't end up not liking the movie, there's enough content in there to make you feel like it was money well spent regardless.
Right? Yeah. There's been I have Scream Factory movies that are not my favorite horror movies in the world, but after I watched all the extras and stuff, like I kind of love those movies. Like the extras actually changed my mind. That's how good these releases are.
I agree.
Yeah. The next one up this might be the pick of all of the weeks.
Yeah, I would think so.
This is the Synapse Steelbook version of Suspiria from 1977. And Suspiria is an interesting movie because when I first watched it, this was way back when I was first getting into horror. I obviously had heard of this movie because it was so highly regarded. And I watched it and I was like, okay, so that's what all the fuss is about? Like, I didn't really get it. Now, granted, I was a lot younger as well. But over the years, I would keep revisiting it, and until it grows on you. It's one of my favorite horror films of all time now. And the more you watch it, the more things you start to get out of it. So I really cannot wait to see this because I believe this is the full uncut blah 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 they recently restored and all that kind of good stuff. So
yeah, and I haven't seen this in ages, so I need to kind of go back. I don't remember nearly as much as I should, so I need to go to watch this again.
No better time because they're also making a remake.
Right.
Yeah. So now we have some. That was it for the 18th. That was it. So. We do have one release coming out the day after Christmas on December 26th, and that is Jeepers Creepers 3.
It's the much maligned sequel.
The much maligned, well, there's also you can't dance around the controversy of the director, and I don't know how people feel about that. I don't know. I'm torn. Some things, that kind of stuff does bother me.
Yeah, no, I agree. And but it's like I want to see the movie because I enjoyed the first two, so it's like.
It's like sometimes it just depends. Like sometimes I can very easily separate the artist from the work, and it doesn't bother me at all. And then sometimes if what the artist did was so bad, then I find myself that I can separate that. So I don't know. The jury's still out on this one. It's not what I'm probably going to purchase.
Right. I will probably watch it if it comes on.
Yeah.
But
if it comes on Prime or something, I'll watch it.
I think that's the best way to kind of do it because you're kind of watching it, but you're not. I guess maybe I don't know. Maybe you're not supporting it by purchasing it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess whichever way you can kind of rationalize it if you really want to see it. But yeah, no, I know it's one of those.
I try not to get too bogged down into the politics of those kind of controversies because while there's too much fun stuff in this hobby to get bogged down in fighting with people over something like that. I mean,
right. And you see, oh my God, I see you go look at. Like anything on social media when this movie gets mentioned, it's like you get 500 people commenting on it back and forth on criticizing the people for who actually want to watch it and versus the people that that don't want to watch it. So it's like anything in social media. People you're gonna get people from both sides and they will just go at it for God knows how long, but.
Yeah, so my advice is do what you want to do and just stay off of social media about it.
Yeah, because it will just make you feel bad either way, whichever decision you make.
Don't get dragged into the muck. The Blu-ray releases for January 2nd, so this is kicking off 2018. We have Anna from 2017. This is looks like a killer doll movie, and not a very good one by the cover.
They dropped the bell on it.
Yeah. This is just Anna.
That's horrible. Boy, they couldn't even get more creative. Change the name at something.
No, this is from ITN Sales. I've never heard of that.
I haven't heard of that company. What is this? Are you sure this is real?
It's a Kickstarter, I guess. Miss Zombie from 2013. This is a redemption release. This would actually look pretty interesting.
Yeah. Although I do have a criticism. Without seeing this already, I think it should have been Ms. Zombie, with M-I-Z-Z. But that's just me.
Yeah.
You know me. I like to kind of snazzy things up, so I thought that would be cool.
This next one sounds right up my alley.
Oh my God, does it ever?
1972, Code Red, 7 Blood-Stained Orchids. This one's going on the list, Brian.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to... Did they make sequels like, Ocean's 11 did? Like the next one is 8 blood-stained orchids, and they add like The Rock or something to it?
Oh, it's like 8 blood-stained carnations or something.
Oh, right. Yeah, you got to switch flowers, I guess.
Switch it up, flowers, yeah.
Let's don't...
Yeah, we just won't switch up body fluids.
Right, there you go.
We'll keep it with blood.
Yeah, keep blood. Blood's got to stay.
And then we have the Blu-ray release of The House's October Built 2 from Image Entertainment.
That's an automatic purchase for me. I love the first one. I love this one. I just love the series. So there's not even a question on that one.
Yep. That one's getting bought. January 9th, we have a few cool releases. We have Asylum of Fear from Gravitas Ventures. I forgot to put the release date of that movie down. We also have the Friend Request, which was the kind of a social media horror that came out not too long ago.
Right. Yeah. See, and there's kind of like your whole thing. We were talking about with the social things. Actually, we kind of cut it. So you guys will. That's a long story. You'll find out when episode 1 of season 2 premieres.
Yeah. The curse of Krampus.
Yeah.
There's definitely a Krampus curse befell the final episode of the season.
Yes, Krampus. So we'll go later.
We'll go later. I'm gonna save the best one for last. The next one up is another one high on my list. That's the Cato 9 Tales from Arrow. This is one of the Dario Argento animal trilogy that I really want to see. And then of course the big one that Brian and I will be purchasing day one.
Oh yeah,
that is It from 2017 in both regular and steelbook versions. It's day and date. Okay. So.
Yeah, and we're going to do, I know when that comes out, we're going to make that a focus of our episode. Because remember, we did the non-spoiler version. By that point, we're going to do it's going to be a full spoiler version. So if you haven't seen it by then, and now, now's your chance. I think it's on demand or coming soon, right? Where you can, digital, I should say.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Where I think you can get it for digital release. So you have plenty of time to talk about it. And I think we're going to have our good buddy Slater from Ride This One podcast on that, because he's a big fan of the original. We wanted to kind of do a double episode of comparing the original to this one. So that's going to be, I'm not sure when that'll drop, if it'll drop right when the DVD comes out, a week later, but somewhere probably in that those first 10 episodes of the season, I think we'll get it in there, and we'll do that double one. So
yep, that'll be good. And theatrical releases, we didn't have anything for 12/15 except for, of course,
there's one
Star
big
Wars.
One.
Yeah, The Last Jedi.
Which I will be seeing tomorrow night. As of the recording date, this is tomorrow night. I will be seeing my first show. I think you are too, Tim, right? You have a Thursday night show?
Yep, I have a 7 o'clock show.
And then because I'm weird, I'll see it another 4 times probably over the weekend. So,
But I mean, the reviews are holding up. They're holding steady.
Yeah.
They're really
I know,
good.
and I saw more. Even another batch came in. Even George Lucas gave his blessing that he said it was beautifully shot. He didn't even stick a little dig in there like he did with The Force Awakens. So if he couldn't find something to say about it, you know there's something special. And I mean, Ryan, I always had faith in Rian Johnson, so I can't wait to do it. I mean, even though we obviously know this is not even remotely a horror film, but we'll definitely discuss this when we get back.
Yeah,
I think from our break,
everybody has to discuss that.
Yeah, we gotta touch on it. It's not this, and I'm sure it'll be fun, and everyone will probably have seen it by that point, so it'll be perfect. Because we'll discuss this. Because I mean, I know Rian Johnson, I had full confidence in going in from the beginning. So I would have been stunned if we go in there and there was anything to, it was a disappointment. But so we'll see.
Well, it's got to be good to give the guy the next trilogy.
Oh my God! Right? Yeah. I mean, if that's not a better before the thing even came out, they already handed him basically the keys to his own trilogy. I mean, what does that tell you?
Yeah. So looking forward to that. There is one big release coming out in January. That is Insidious: The Last Key,
which I just saw. It's funny. I just saw a commercial before we started recording it was on. I think we were watching. Julie and I were watching Comic Book Men off the DVR, and it was doing that.
So I will definitely be checking that one out. I actually don't think I saw Insidious 3 though. I'll have to go grab that one beforehand.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch all 3 again. Julie hadn't seen them all, but she thinks this one looks interesting, so I think we'll probably do a little binge and watch the first 3, and then probably go see that.
Yeah, that would be a fun. And then we do have a limited and VOD release coming out on the same day as Insidious on January 5th. And that one is called Day of the Dead Bloodline, which is probably the most generic zombie title I could think of.
Right, I know. It might as well be like a Night of the Dead. eat brains or
Reckoning.
something.
Night of
Yeah,
the Dead Reckoning.
Yeah, it's
my
pretty.
God.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
They're running
Okay.
out of titles. I mean, there's only so many points in a 24-hour period you can name a zombie film, right?
Yeah, so you guys may have noticed we're doing kind of a shorter episode tonight, and that there's several reasons behind that. It's a long story, but
long story. We'll fill you in though. Don't worry.
yeah, we'll fill you in. But basically between work and just scheduling and holidays, it was just kind of crazy. So
Yeah, and it just and like I had mentioned, I had teased earlier. We had I forgot. Like Tim and I literally actually had recorded half the episode that got interrupted, and so we were gonna try and just continue from there. And we realized no, we'll just start fresh. But it was a blessing in disguise because in that time period we found out that all those celebrities wanted to record our Night Before Krampus. So look at
that would have never happened.
See. Perfect. It was all done for a reason. So Krampus came in and he said it. Yeah, you have to say it like that. Once you see the movie, you have to say Krampus.
Krampus. So, of course, this was the highly anticipated movie from Michael Dougherty, who really got a lot of fan acclaim and critical acclaim for Trick or Treat, which was his Halloween movie. So
hey, he's got 2 holidays down now.
Yeah, so when you found out he had a Christmas movie coming out, I was beyond excited because I thought, obviously, he's got that really cool artistic... because he's an artist, he draws cartoons, he's done animation, so he has that very whimsical feel. He's got a great sense of humor, and that's something that really shines through all of his movies. So of course, it's directed by Michael Dougherty. It's written by Michael Dougherty and Todd Casey, and it stars a bunch of cool people, which we can kind of go through, I guess, one by one. You have the young boy Max, played by MJ Anthony.
Yeah, he's good in pretty much all the stuff he does. Like, he was fantastic in Chef.
Yeah, he's solid.
It's not a horror movie, but he's a really good actor for a little kid.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you have Adam Scott, known for tons of stuff, most notably probably Parks and Recreation. But he's also been in a lot of movies, and he was in that recent, what was that Netflix original with the, I already forgot the name, with the demon kid.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can't think of it, but yeah.
I just blanked out. Sorry, guys. But anyway, so he's done his share of horror comedy, so he's a perfect fit for this. And then the great Toni Collette, who I really love, which it was weird. Like, I was going back through her IMDb page, and I was like, I don't recognize any of this stuff, but yet I know who she is, obviously.
Well, Sixth Sense was a big one. She was
but it's like, she's like instantly recognizable. I love her in everything she's in, but when I go back through, I haven't seen hardly anything that she's actually in.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it, but and it's funny because the original thing I saw her in, which was a lot of people's Muriel's Wedding, which is like she was like younger and like she was kind of heavy then, so it was weird to see her in like something like that, and then then she became like just she looks almost completely different.
Yeah, and she's starting to build some horror cred, too.
Yeah, because she was in that, what was that other one she did? Oh, God, I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, as you can see, we're really prepared. Oh, she was great in Little Miss Sunshine, too.
Yeah, she was, she was in, there was another, like, obvious horror movie she was in. There's people screaming at the podcast right now.
I know, I'm scrolling through quickly.
Oh, she was in the Fright Night remake.
Oh, that's right. But there was another one where she played, there was something else. Well, we'll figure it. She was actually in the... there's a movie called The Dead Girl. I don't know if that's horror, but...
Yeah.
She's been in a ton of stuff.
She's been in stuff. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And
basically, we could just say she's been in a lot.
Yeah. And then if you had Stefania Levy Owen, who plays Beth, which is the younger girl. And then you have Krampus herself, Kristen Stopler, who plays Omi, the grandmother.
She's great. Oh my God, for someone with hardly any real like lines in it, it's like she's good. Because her lines are mostly not in English. So
yeah, and then you have the great Conchata Farrell, who plays the exact same character that she did on 2.5 Men.
She's
like, it's
pretty much
character.
Everyone, every character she's in. She's like a loud, has a cackle after all her big lines. It's like she's typecast without being typecast. It's so funny. She typecasts herself.
Yeah, but you know what? Some actors can get away with that.
She's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, she's one of them. She's a perfect example. She's one of those character actors, for lack of a better word, like that plays the same character in every movie, but it's fine because everybody loves that character.
Right.
So
I mean,
who
even
cares?
in Mystic Pizza, she was the same. Like, oh, you know.
Yeah,
you
she's always
tell
like the
'em.
brash older
Yeah.
lady. Yeah, I mean, she's great. I love her.
Yeah.
You had Allison Tolman as Linda, who's the kind of the mom.
And David Koechner.
David Koechner as Howard. Now, David Koechner, obviously, is probably the most behind Adam Scott, of course, and Toni Collette, probably one of the most recognizable because you've seen him in, everything, comedy-wise. Anchorman and...
Yeah, I mean, he was in the Piranha 3 Double D or whatever, the sequel to the...
he's been on the Goldbergs. He's been on...
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is, he's got... It's funny. It's like when he was on Saturday Night Live, I never really thought he was anything like, I was like, yeah, he's okay. He's part of it. He's good. But it's, but like, I think some of his characters in movies are just hilarious.
Yeah, he's a trip. So
yeah, my favorite line. I gotta say, my favorite like David Koechner line, even though it was a little off time from Anchorman, when they were all rehashing what was going on. Remember, he was like, remember, he's like, this morning I ate an entire squirrel or something, remember? And he's like, literally. He said, it just cracks me up. And literally, and he like hits every syllable. I don't know. Yeah. So sorry. I had to kind of give him his due there.
So you kind of got the tone of the movie just from the casting, because obviously with Adam Scott and David Koechner in here, it's going to be, and Conchata Ferrell, it's going to be funny. Like there's going to be a lot of humor. But of course, Michael Dougherty is going to add plenty of horror in there too. And so in Krampus, you've got young boy Max. He's basically disillusioned with Christmas because of the family. It's kind of like the whole Christmas Vacation thing, where Christmas is fine until your family comes in.
And there's even a little bit of like a little nod to Home Alone a bit. How well, actually, Home Alone 2, I think more so, where where it starts off with the where he gets in trouble in the middle of like a holiday performance, and he doesn't get along with his cousins or his sister, you know, and it's like a much smaller scale version of Kevin McAllister's thing, because remember Kevin McAllister, all he wanted was his he wanted his tree, he wanted a nice, but no, he wanted a nice Christmas like it used to be, and when he, and kind of a thing, and so it's like, and everything goes wrong, and they all torment him, and they tease him, and it's like, and he down deep he's just a good kid, he wants Christmas, he wants the magic, he wants to believe it still,
which don't we all you kind of miss, you're always trying to recapture that magic of when you were a kid, which you never can as an adult, but you
can't. Yeah, and I used to, you used to do that, like, just simply, I used to go in the city and, do, like, go through all the windows and stuff. Like, even that, it's harder to kind of get that back now. Especially with kind of, it's going to be funny to say this, but kind of Star Wars has been taking over Christmas the last 3 years. So it's like, I'm more of a Star Wars spirit than Christmas. Like, next thing I know, that's over, and I'm like, oh, crap, I got, like, 3 more days to get gifts for people. So, yeah.
So anyway, Max unwittingly allures Krampus to the house, I guess, because he's basically denying Christmas, or
and I took it as and I don't know if this is correct, but I kind of took it a little bit like Krampus kind of had his eye on their family because of the grandmother. Because
that's true. That's obviously true.
Yeah, because you find out, later on through one of the coolest sequences when she goes and tells the story. The grandmother tells a story about her encounter with Krampus.
Yeah,
and and so it's pretty interesting, and it's kind of like, it's funny because it's like you could tell Michael Dougherty, he literally is trying to make. Obviously, he wants the horror element, but he's really trying to make a heartwarming Christmas tale interwoven with horror, and he does. And as far as most of the other horror Christmas movies that were out there, they pretty much just set a horror movie at Christmas and ignore that fact. He intertwines them both, which I think is what makes him so good.
It's almost it almost has a kind of a fairy tale feel to it in some places, and I think you're right. Yeah, there's obviously a connection to Omi, but I think it's one of those things where maybe Max kind of opens the door to it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, he does. I mean, when he rips up the letter, and it's kind of like, he's like, and it's funny. It's like almost if he knows that, like, maybe should he, because he contemplates it for a bit and then rips up the letter and, and throws it out, and then basically kind of like gives Krampus like pretty much his ticket to come visit
Yeah.
his family.
The great thing about this movie, and speaking of Anchorman and David Koechner, is to quote, well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, it does. It escalates very quickly.
This movie escalates really quickly because when Krampus stuff starts coming, like, it's a nonstop, to use a cliche, a nonstop thrill ride from that point onward. I mean, it literally is. It's like all hell breaks loose in this house. And what's I loved about this movie, absolutely loved, is it would have been really, really easy for Michael Dougherty to make just a generic Krampus movie where Krampus shows up and terrorizes the family for an hour and a half, and that's the end of it. But instead, he just fills it with all these super cool ideas. So, and these creatures that he's come up with.
The gingerbread guy.
Yeah, so you've got a demonic evil teddy bear. You've got the sentient gingerbread cookies, murderous gingerbread.
That Jack-in-the-Box thing, right?
And then the crazy Cupid angel, demon angel thing, and then you've got the masterpiece, which is the giant man-eating Jack-in-the-Box. Which, I mean, even coming with that on paper, I don't know how anybody would be crazy enough to say, let's just film that. Film, because it's so out there, but yet they pull it off. It's really, really, really cool.
Yeah, no, he just does an amazing job with it, because it could have been also, those things could have been so hokey, but for some reason it works. Like, he's seeing an angry little ginger man running after you. You would think, oh, for God's sake! But for some reason you get so caught up in the whimsy of it, if lack of a better word. It works. You don't care. It's like you're like, oh my God, that's so cool. You kind of really get captured into it.
Well, here's the thing, and I've said this before. If you're going to do horror comedy, you can't just go all in on the comedy and not go all in on the horror.
Right.
Because then it turns into a straight comedy. If you really want to do a horror comedy right, you have to put really intense, like, horror stuff and gore in to not make the comedy slide into, like, a parody. So and that's what this does brilliantly. Like the creatures are super scary. Like, even though it's gingerbread man and this clown and everything, like, they're really creepy.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, one of the creepiest parts in this, and it's so well done. I mean, the visuals in this movie. I mean, you cannot talk enough about those. How cool they are, because, like, one of the coolest things is when I think it's a daughter running back, and she looks over to the houses, and she just sees the shadow of Krampus going from, like, house to house, like, leaping.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is super creepy, and it's really cool, because at first kind of get her viewpoint. She looks, and is she really seeing something? You kind of see something, but then it becomes clearer that it's literally someone hopping from house to house, like, chasing her along the way, and it's just like it's so just so visually cool, and they give this great. He manages to make it seem like they literally are the only family left in the world. I mean, they mention it. There's like, oh, so-and-so, they're in Florida, they're in this, or whatever that. But still, it's like the snow is, like, swirling so much that, like, you can't see, like, it's like they can't see their hand in front of their face, and neither can you. A lot of the time,
it's a very, very claustrophobic film.
Right.
Basically, it doesn't all take place in one house, but it feels like it does.
Right, and it's like the street. I mean, as far as they get, I think they get down the street.
Yeah, or they get to that other house, I think. They find the gingerbread remains and stuff.
Oh, that's right. They do get to that one house. Yes, you're right.
But it still feels very closed in and claustrophobic, which I think he was going for, obviously, because you have this big storm with snow, and they're supposed to feel isolated. Because obviously, how does it work when you have a giant Krampus running around this populated neighborhood? It doesn't
knocking into people.
Yeah,
like Ferris Bueller going through their backyard.
I mean, the Krampus design is so cool in this movie too.
Oh my God, yeah, it's that, and I'm glad they give you some close-ups, but not enough to, like, where you can really study the face for very long.
Right. Yeah, just enough to, like, scare you.
Yeah, and it's so cool the way that is. I mean, because so many you've seen. I mean, it seems like if you look now, there's probably like 30 Krampus movies out there, and it's funny. It seems like it came out of nowhere, and now everything's Krampus. Like,
yeah.
but yeah. I mean, and there's other versions of that Krampus that weren't Krampus. Like, I think there was one, like, something like Dark Peter or something, where he was like, what, Santa Claus went around with a sack of toys. He went around with a sack of, like, those switches that he could like hit the kids with. So I mean, and because I remember there was this display I used to go to when I was in California. They had this holiday, man. It was Santa Claus around the world, and then they had him. It was like Dark Peter. I'm like, what the heck is this? And he had like this black beard, and I said, okay, Santa Claus said all the names, and then it's Dark Peter, and I'm like, what is this? So then he had a little like blurb on it. So that one kind of always cracked me up. So I mean, there's always that like. Obviously there's the Santa Claus and there's the opposite, so I think one of them referred to it as Santa's shadow, right? I guess they referred to it.
I always thought that was kind of a cool idea, though.
Yeah.
Christmas has always been a little tinged with either horror or sadness. Like, obviously you've got A Christmas Carol, which had ghosts in it.
Right.
So it has that kind of horror element that probably just kind of started the whole kind of horror Christmassy thing, or at least in the popular culture. But, I've always said the best Christmas songs are kind of sad.
Yeah,
because there's this melancholy to Christmas and like nostalgia and wistfulness and all that kind of ties into horror as well. So I think, all the best Christmas stuff to me always has a little bit of sadness to it. So, but this is a great movie. It just like Trick or Treat, I watch every Halloween. This is one I will watch every Christmas.
Oh, absolutely.
Along with
it's
my
so
normal
fun.
Christmas movies.
And it's been on cable a lot this month, obviously, and so I mean, if you should be able to catch it pretty quick. And I think Netflix actually, it's on Netflix currently too. I think. I mean, there's no way you should not be able to catch this thing. But I recommend definitely make that part of your Christmas repertoire. It definitely deserves a place like that. See, and that's why when people were comparing the Better Watch Out to that, I'm just like, I think you just maybe didn't either see that or you didn't.
Well, it's hard to compare because Better Watch Out is not really a supernatural horror movie at all.
True.
It's more, whereas this is obviously a completely different. It's almost a completely different genre within horror.
Right. Well, I was saying more so like the holiday horror film. You can't put it up. I don't think it.
Well, put it this way: Better Watch Out could have been set any time besides Christmas.
Exactly.
There was no reason for it to be set at Christmas.
You're right, other than to get the title in there.
Right. So Krampus, you have to set at Christmas. So right there is the differentiation.
The Silent Night, Deadly Night, same thing.
Yeah. So so
Black
that
Christmas,
that to me kind of takes Better Watch Out of the running as best Christmas movie because I'm not saying that it's not. Because Gremlins could have taken place outside of Christmas, and everybody considers that a great holiday.
Except you wouldn't have because I guess it could have been a birthday present for him. Because remember, it was his Christmas present.
Well, that's true. Yeah, they tied it a little tighter.
Yeah, but then also you wouldn't have had the light line. Frank, this is supposed to be Christmas. That guy.
Yeah.
So you needed
my dad was Santa Claus coming down the chimney and got stuck.
Oh right, and the dog hung up by the thing, and then and think about it though. Then you wouldn't have to "Do you hear what I hear?" That classic sequence with the.
True.
That's it, Tim. You got to put it back on Christmas. Sorry.
Yeah.
Save Gremlins 2 could have taken place anytime.
Yeah, there you go. Well, so that's highly recommended by both of us. So go check out Krampus.
Yes.
Brian, you had a perfect beer pairing this week.
Yeah, which it's funny. I think I first noticed this. I believe. Maybe this was 2 years ago I first noticed this. I think it was EB at Coastal Radio was mentioning Krampus or something, and then I happened to go into my beverage place, and Southern Tier makes a beer called Krampus. And that's basically it. So it's literally called Krampus. So I can't think of a better beer, although I hadn't been able to get to the beverage place that had it near me yet, so I've been kind of just going with some other wintry stouts, but but that's a perfect beer to watch this with. So I think it's pretty good too. It's like one of those bigger bottles, and it's like the pumpkin could come in, and I think it's like $8.99. So it's pretty.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pick one up this weekend because we're gonna be going out that way. So I'll try to find one because I'm quickly running out of my holiday beer selection. So
yeah, I got a little mix 6 the other day of a bunch of them. So it's something about I love like it's fall and winter, my favorite times of beer actually, because it's just those I love those. Those kind of like, not that I like it warm, but those, I do like them cold, the beers, but there's a warm feeling when you have a nice thick like stout or
and those you can drink. Yeah, those you don't want to drink too terribly cold anyway.
No, you want them too cold. You want them nice, like just above room temperature, where there's a little chill to it. Mm-hmm. It's the way. It's a perfect way to have those.
Yeah. The cold tends to kill the flavor on those. If you get it too cold, you can always tell.
Right.
All right, so the trivia for last week was we were talking about Black Christmas and how it so effectively uses the killer's POV, but it was not, in fact, the first film to use the POV of the killer. We asked you what film is generally considered the first film featuring the POV point of view of the killer, and the answer was Peeping Tom from 1960. Man, this is a creepy, creepy movie. And Brian, you said you have not seen it yet.
No, I want to see it though. Now that you said it gave the Tim seal of approval. So
yeah, basically you have this photographer who he's got this long spike on the front of his camera, almost like a bayonet. So he's basically photographing these women while he's impaling them on this.
Oh my god!
spike.
Wow,
it's really freaky.
That's from the '60s too, no less.
Yeah,
wow.
1960, early '60s.
Yeah.
So
wow.
yeah, the great movie. You need to watch that one. And then of course I think we even mentioned last episode.
Yeah.
This was popularized by Halloween. The trivia this week is Michael Dougherty. We talked about he has done some cartooning and animation. He had an animated short film called Season's Greetings that was actually referenced in Krampus during the news broadcast on television in the beginning of the film. So he kind of self-referenced himself.
Yeah, I can't blame the guy.
Yeah, but why was this short film so significant? There was a reason why that short film Season's Greetings by Michael Dougherty was so significant. So that's our trivia question for this week.
Yes.
And it's going to be a while before you get the answer to that one because we will not be back, unfortunately, until I believe we're coming back on the 9th of January. So we've been going at this hard for over 40 episodes because even though this is episode 40, we've done some mini-sodes, we've done some commentaries in there. So, and we have not missed a week. So we're taking a well-deserved break to spend some time with family, celebrate the holidays, and come back fresh with season 2, kind of brainstorm some ideas on ways to grow the podcast and add new features. And if you guys have any feedback, now's the time to get them in before season 2 starts so we can kind of tailor the thing to what you guys want to hear. Or, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. We won't be offended.
Nope.
We have thick skins.
Yeah. And another good thing to do is, too, if for all of our listeners that maybe joined midway through, it's a perfect time to catch up by going from the beginning. Although I will say we are not proud of our first episode. We were a little, obviously new to the podcasting game at that point in terms of our own podcast. We've been on others at that point. So wasn't the greatest episode, I'd say. But once 2 picks up, we pretty much got it within a week later.
I've literally been afraid to go back and listen to our first episode.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, same here. So if you want to start with episode 2, go right ahead. But so, yeah, just I mean, if you're with us to this point, you've realized we kind of have a thing going now. So, but
yeah. Well, what I find interesting in the downloads is it's sometimes hard, and it's hard for me too to keep up with a weekly podcast.
Right. Yeah, I fall behind.
Hard.
Yeah,
because I fall behind on all of my podcasts, and I subscribe to a ton of them, but I typically fall behind on most of them. There's very few that I can keep up with. So, sometimes your downloads suffer week to week because people are still like 1 or 2 episodes behind. So this is a good time to kind of catch up and get back in sync with everybody. Yeah. So, so guys, we'll I hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Hope you have a great one.
Yes, and have a safe one. Have an enjoyable holiday with your family and friends. And hey, you know what? Great ideas too while you're standing. You know what? Show them Krampus or something like that. Give the gift of horror.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and don't check out our gift guide from last episode in case
you still have time.
Yeah, you still have time to do some last minute holiday shopping. Amazon ships Prime. You still got time. Yeah. So,
or according to Krampus, DHL will ship on bring it to you the day before Christmas.
So yeah, and also of course have a Happy New Year because we'll pass that milestone as well. So hopefully 2018 will be good to you, and we'll be back here with some New Year's resolutions and some predictions for 2018.
Right, and just because we are not going to be actually, we won't have a show for those 3 weeks. We will still be. I'll still be keeping up with the social media things, like any news obviously we get. Like I already have been posting a couple things about Friday the 13th, the game. They were about to release the big update. So yeah, that will still continue. So, and we'll still be there to interact with you. So there just won't be basically a recording for a couple of weeks. That's all.
Yeah. So drop us a line on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I think we're on Spotify now. If not, we will be within the next week or two because I submitted us. So.
All right.
Yeah. So another avenue to get your Civil Gore fix.
Yeah, and if you can, leave a review, because if you don't, we're just gonna send Tim's logic professor after you.
Yeah. You don't want that.
No, especially because we don't know his name. So.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we will see you next year.